Welcome to today's video on the hooded lid, and I'm not an esthetician and I'm not a doctor, but I do have some experience with some tools that I want to share with you today. In the spirit of New Year's resolutions, maybe some of us are thinking it's time for me to step up my game with anti-aging. I've noticed, I found this page somewhere that said a lot of my viewers are not my age. I'm 58 and I have some younger viewers, and I think that's fantastic. To me that means a hooded lid is ageless. You can be hooded in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, doesn't matter. If you're in your 30s, don't be, or younger, don't be dissuaded from watching this, because not everything I'm doing here is necessarily corrective. Some of it might be preventative, and there are some things in the anti-aging arena that I think you don't need to do until you get a little bit older, and there are some that I think you should be doing, or you should be considering doing, even though you are not what I would consider, a more mature woman yet. So I have spent hours on the internet looking up the information that will help you to decide if any of these tools are good for you. And it's kind of remarkable that it took me hours to find this. It should be on each website, but I found that it's not. There's kind of a lack of transparency, and that bothers me a lot, because I feel that you, the consumer, me, the consumer, we're becoming a little bit smarter, a little bit more interested, and a little bit more available to receive information that some of these companies think we don't need to know. Don't worry, I found out some good stuff, some of it on site, some of it not on site. Before we get into it, please keep in mind that my experience may be different than yours, and probably is, because I'm a different person. I have different face, right? My whole life I've had the chubby cheeks. And one of the signs of aging that is very, very noticeable is actually the redistribution of fat. Oh, joy! Where the plumpness up here starts to fall down here. And that might not be a problem that you have. So for me, my experiences and my conclusions might be different than yours. I shot this video yesterday and started to edit it yesterday so it could be up to date. This is New Year's Day. And, by 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I don't remember when, I was 20 minutes and I only did 2 tools, and I knew this is going to be a 40-minute video, so I decided I'm going to break it down into a couple of videos, 2 or 3. And today I'm going to talk about microcurrent. And you may notice that my hair looks different each time I come back, because I'm picking stuff off the floor here because I have a small little table. So the first thing I want to talk about is the one that I think most people know about. It is the Nuface Trinity, and I have the LED attachment on this, but it comes with what I like to call big balls. And the reason I call it big balls is because they're small balls on the end of this, which I call this the snail antenna. Whatever works for me. I don't remember what it's called. This is $325 just with the big balls, and each of these attachments are $145 each. Sometimes you can find them on a bundle. That's how I got mine when I bought this 4 years ago. Now I want to read you a little bit of what I found on the Myolift site, and I have to put on the glasses. Microcurrent is capable of facial stimulation, sending soft, gentle waves through the skin, tissues, and down to the facial muscles. Microcurrent is shown to increase ATP concentration and protein synthesis while promoting amino acid uptake. ATP is known as adenosine triphosphate, which drives the creation of key structural proteins such as collagen and elastin, and is a biochemical way to store and use energy. So this energy helps your cells do what they're supposed to do. But as we get older, we have less of it. And the microcurrent encourages it to proliferate in your skin. Collagen makes up 1/3 of protein in skin, cartilage, bone, and tendons. That's a lot. This increased ATP also energizes the facial muscles, similar to how exercise energizes the muscles of our bodies. Unlike elsewhere on the body, the facial muscles are directly connected to the skin. So the result of energizing the muscle is often an improved, lifted appearance. Let's stop right there. I think that marketing has changed a lot for the microcurrent devices, because my belief, and I think most people, just based on what I'm seeing on YouTube, belief is this is something that is sending microcurrents into your muscles to give you passive exercise. I remember a long time ago there was this popular thing, I can't remember what it was called, where you have these attachments to your body, these, not electrodes, but these flat, I don't know what they're made of, but they adhere to your skin, and there were wires connected to a machine, and it would give your muscles, what would you call that? Well, it'd give them a little shock, but the idea was to tense the muscle. It was a form of passive exercise, and I think a lot of people think that's what these machines are about. But now their focus is on the ATP, which is energy for your cells. And as they said, it can result in a lifted look. And I think it's really, really important to keep this ATP in mind, to learn a little bit about it, because some other devices I'm going to be talking about in other videos are also looking to encourage ATP. From their website, they said, never put anything on your face that contracts the muscles. That's the word I was looking for, contraction. Nuface devices deliver the perfect amount of microcurrent for instant and long-term results. Unfortunately, Nuface deemed it wasn't important to tell you what those microcurrents are, but I found it on Google. Google says between 325 and 400 microamps in the Trinity. More microcurrent is not better. You can overstimulate muscles in your face by applying too much current to delicate facial muscles, just like you can overwater a plant. Okay, and another thing to keep in mind is if you feel, while you're doing microcurrent, if you feel that twitching kind of thing, or that electric kind of a thing, you're using too much. And the result of using too much could be depletion of your reserves of ATP that are naturally occurring in your skin. So you really don't want to feel that. Sometimes it's because you're using something too high, and sometimes it's because you're not using a conductor that is thick enough to kind of absorb that feeling. All right, so let's talk about my experience with it. I got this 4 years ago. And the protocol for this is 5 times a week for 12 weeks. They say that your program can be as little as 5 minutes and as much as 15. I have found that a 5-minute program is just nothing. This has a timer on it, so I haven't charged this, I haven't used it in a long time, but you hit the button and you have your little balls, right? And there's a timer that's about 20 seconds or so, and you move along and then it goes beep, and you know you move to the next position, or you do a repetition of 3, move up next position, repetition of 3, move up, repetition of 3. They provide you with sample exercises to do. You can also find exercises online. It's all pretty much the same thing. And for me, it's 20 minutes just with this. If you buy the antennas, these are for around the lips, over and under, these lines here, and around the eyes. You can easily do 10 minutes with this as well. Even though it covers very little space, there's a lot you can do with it. So let's say 20 minutes for this and 20 minutes for this, you're up to 40 minutes. And that was what I was doing. I was doing 40 minutes of this thing 5 times a week. And the LED, I would do once in a while. The LED, the timer is longer. I think it's 3 minutes. And as you can see, this is not big. So if I wanted to do this, it would be 3 minutes here, move it down, 3 minutes here, move it down, 3 minutes here, move it down, and so on. It would take you forever, and I found that I would have to recharge this and continue. So I feel that this is kind of useless for your LED, except it fits really nicely right under your eyes. So you could do something with the eyes with this, but for the face, there are better ways to go with the LED. And I couldn't find the specs on this anyway, so who knows what it is. But it's very specific how much you need in order for it to be beneficial according to clinical studies. So here is what happened for me. I finished this after 3 months and I didn't see anything going on. I didn't see a difference at all. I didn't see any contouring that so many people have seen. And I kind of lost interest, partly because I definitely hated the gel. The gel sucks. It's the kind of gel that you can't wipe off. You actually have to wash your face again. So you're washing your face, getting rid of all your oils, because oils get in the way of the current. And then you put on this gel, do the whole scabiel, and then you have to wash your face again. As a person who's 58 years old, I do not want to wash my face twice in a stripping manner, because you are actually trying to strip this stuff off your face in one evening. That's a no-go for me. So I did buy other gels that were a little easier. You could wipe them off, and then they were water soluble, so they would just come off with a good rinse. But still, I saw no results. I didn't love it. I wouldn't buy it again. I know there's a lot of people who do like it, most notably Angie from Hot and Flashing. I say most notably because we're the same age, and it's very possible if you're around my age you watch her too, and you've seen her say that she really, really enjoys this product. That was interesting. I have huge bolts of fabric that just fell over. I will do that later. I think part of the reason Angie likes it is because her skin is, how could I say this, a different composure than my skin. I do have all this cheekiness, this fleshiness, and she is quite thin. I've heard her say that it's hereditary. She's always been thin. She's even referred to herself as a string bean. As such, she's not likely to have as much fat in her face as I have. And if you're one of those women where you don't have a lot of fat in your face, it's very, very likely that you would love this and get a nice contour from using it. If you're like me, not so much. I didn't see anything. So that's my experience. For me, not so much. But I did find another microcurrent that I kind of like. The fabric on the floor is kind of making me crazy. I'll be right back. The Myolift Mini. There she is. I never heard of this until I started watching Penny at Penn Smith Skincare, and she spoke about it a lot. She is an esthetician, so when she has something to say, I'm going to listen. Nobody's perfect. Nobody catches everything, but being an esthetician is helpful. Got to put this on the floor. So it's pretty much the same goal with this machine, because ATP is the goal for microcurrent, as I said before. But this approach is a little bit different. First of all, there are two specific waveforms. They don't tell us what those forms are, but one is for erase. These two are for erase, and one is for educate. These two are for educate. This is where you set how much time. It starts with 20 minutes automatically, and you can bring it down or bring it up. It's just, something for you to gauge really how long you're going, because after it hits that time, it continues to run. There's two levels, level 1 and level 2. And you can charge this, and that charge will hold you forever. I've been using this for easily 4 months. I've charged it once and never again, and I use it a lot. So you can tell what your microamps are here. 175. That is, we are on level 1, educate, 175. This is level 2, 350. And if you want to go higher, you can just change your intensity, and it will go up to 400. So you know specifically, yay, what your amps are. I really like that. And what is also different about this is the erase and the educate. So the erase is a wavelength that relaxes your muscles. Comes with probes. The current goes through here. It goes through here. By the way, never put them on either side of your face. It's like electrocuting yourself. You can feel it going all the way through your face. But that gives you an idea of what is supposed to be happening with these. Boy, the birds are here. I hear you. There's a muscle right here, for instance. When you are doing Educate, you hold one steady and you move the other one slowly to it. Stop, pinch them together. The idea is, if you can get this placed over the muscle correctly, and they do give you a diagram that you can take out, it's even a little bit laminated, so if you spill something on it, it's still good. And it has all the muscles in the face, and I really suggest you look at that, study that, maybe even look up some other ones online and get an idea of where your muscles are, and then take a look at your face and get an idea of what you want to change so you can focus on those areas. They do give you a protocol of a program, and there's of course some people online who have added a couple of things, and I found some really good things that I haven't seen anyone else mention just by looking around. But the idea is current through here, you're over that muscle, and then when you pinch and hold for 4 seconds, you might actually be getting the current going through the belly of the muscle, and that's pretty cool. Now, the erase is actually, I think, kind of genius. This is another wavelength. I'm just going to tell you what they say. Under Educate, they say, a new combination waveform incorporating square and inbuilt sine wave, S-I-N-E, hence reaching muscles from surface to deeper level, bringing muscle education, toning, and lifting effect. Under Erase, it says new waveform that helps in reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. It also helps in reducing large pores and softening scar tissue, refining the texture of the skin, re-educates the muscle to relax and lengthen. I don't know what the waveforms are. I don't know why they're not telling us. Maybe they think it's over our head, but that's what it is. I love the Erase mode. Now, the Erase mode is something you'd want to use if you have horizontal lines here, where when you do Erase, you generally have both probes moving away from each other. But if the space is really small, one can anchor and the other you move away, where with Educate you're moving together. So right here, you gotta have a pretty long chin to do both of these. So you might hold this under the lip, pull down. You might hold it on the chin, pull up. For me, I love to do this around the eyebrows, around the 11s. I like to do it on the forehead. I like to do it the crows, and whatever these little lines are over here, over there. And my favorite place to do it is these. I can't remember the name of this muscle, shame on me, but this muscle here, when it's tight, gives you that really unfriendly resting bitch face. And as we get older, the ends of our mouth tend to pull down even more as these get tighter. And I just spend some time doing this here and here as well. Both sides. I think it's genius. So for me, this device offers much more than the Myolift. You can stretch out those muscles that are too tight. You can tighten muscles around the face, and you can be very specific. For instance, you could start here and go up here and work on your jawline. There are several muscles that come right from here across your face. So for me, I want my cheeks to remain up my face instead of down my face. So I like to spend some time on those muscles in the hopes that they will kind of act as not quite a corset, but a foundation to kind of hold that cheek muscle up. We'll see. You can also use this on your neck. Now for me, I don't want these muscles to be stronger, because what happens if they're tighter? They pull everything down. But I have stuff here I do not like. So instead, I do something more like to the side, like this. Because I think, if you got this tighter, you'd be getting rid of this. For me personally, I don't want to tighten these. That's just me. Penny uses it that way, but Penny's younger than me. So for me, this offers so many different ways of going about it. And that's not all. So you have the probes, you have different levels so you know how many amps you're using, and you have different wavelengths, one for relaxing and stretching out, and one for tightening. You can also get these gloves. These are separate, but they're not very expensive. They are lined in silver. When you use these, you don't need conductive gel. You just need to get them wet, and then you put on some gloves first. With this, you don't have the same problem of you can't get your probes, they don't have traction because they're using conductive gel and they're not staying exactly where you want them to stay. With these, you can be so much more intuitive and you can really stay. So you can move up and just really hold this for a couple of seconds and keep on doing that. However, I will say, anytime I've used these 2 days in a row, I have regretted it because it's a little rough for me, and I end up getting a little bit of a rash, especially around here, because these are exfoliating. So for me, I would use these, if you're doing this every single day, I would at least have a day in between the use of the gloves, depending on your skin, and maybe even 2 days, so maybe just twice a week on this. But I do love these gloves. I think they're genius. Now, let's talk about protocol, since we're talking about how often we do this. It's a little bit confusing. It says on their website once a week for 12 weeks. That's strange because Myolift, which is about the same charge, the same microamp, is saying 5 times a week for 3 months. They also say that you can use this every other day without danger. So I would think you could do this 5 times a week, 4 to 5 times a week, and that's what I did for the first 3 months that I used it. So the 3 months is kind of the point I was going for. Did I notice a difference? I feel that the biggest difference I noticed was around the mouth. I might see a little bit of difference here. It's possible a little bit difference here. Just like with the Myolift, right afterwards I think, nice. Wake up in the morning, it's gone. So that sculpting kind of thing doesn't last for very long. If you have a special event, you want to do something like this beforehand, but the next day it's going to be gone. But the ATP is still building up, whether you see it or not. So this one to me really offers a lot more for the money. And did I mention the money? It's $269. This is the Myolift Mini, and these might be $30. I can't remember. It's a better deal in so many ways. It tells you more about what you're doing. That's about it. So for me, the Myolift is the one that I really prefer for a couple of reasons. They have 2 modes, education and erase. You can control the lever, how much microamps you are using. So if it's a little too pinchy, you can turn it down and really see specifically and exactly what you're turning it around to. And certain areas you want it to be less. So when you're going around your eyes, and you can use this around your eyes because it's small enough. So you can do a whole protocol lifting up your eyebrows, like so. You can do under the eye, just sweeping a little bit, hoping to make that skin a little bit stronger so it's less puffy, for instance. In my case, less puffy, less lines, less everything. So the probes are just the right size, you know what I mean? They can do so much. And eventually, when you get to know the muscles around the face and get to figure out what do I want to do for my face, you can be much more intuitive. They do have a booklet that comes with it, and the booklet's quite thick, and there's a lot of exercises in it, but it's a little bit weird for a couple of reasons. Many of the photos are black and white and they're kind of dark, but they're also taken from the point of view of an esthetician as opposed to a point of view of someone who's looking in the mirror. So sometimes you're seeing the face upside down. If you were an esthetician, it'd be like, oh, okay, I need to be in this position. But if you're doing it sitting up looking in a mirror, sometimes it's hard to understand the angle. And unfortunately, it's really important when you're first learning this, exactly where you're hitting, because you are looking for very specific muscles. Also, sometimes the written directions that come with the photos or that are indicated to that photo don't make sense. It's like, well, the picture I'm seeing is different than what I'm reading, so which one is right? I'm not saying don't take a look at it. Take a look at it and read it very thoroughly and get a lot of ideas about what you can do with this. And then the areas where you're like, this doesn't make any sense, do a little bit more research. In my case, I went on YouTube and I found 3 people that had tutorials, and while I was trying to memorize the program, I would kind of use 2 of them back and forth until I figured, oh, I think I like this one better. And I would keep on looking at that one while I was doing this until I finally had it memorized. And I might add something that someone else had done, take away something like the neck that I think is useless for me. And those 3 people are the organic esthetician, and the other one, I cannot remember her name, but she has some kind of relationship with Myolift, and she's actually on their website, one of her videos. I'll be writing it right here. And then Penny at Pensmith finally did put one up herself more recently. But on the one that she did, she doesn't have some of the exercises that I really enjoy. So I'm going to stand by what I initially said. Look around at what other people are doing. Don't just find one person and say, okay, this is what I'm going to use. Do some with each person. Sometimes they have more than one program, or they have something specific for the mouth or specific for cheekbones, and just play around with it until you find the moves that you think are going to work with you. And of course, read the booklet that comes with it too. It is good. There's just areas that are weird, like nobody proofread them or something like that. And same thing, that little face chart that they put in there for you, look online as well. They'll show you the muscles in a different way, sometimes more muscles, sometimes less muscles, and get an idea for what's going on your face. You're going to know your face super well, but the better you know your face, I think the better results that you will find. So the probes I love the idea that the energy is shooting from here, and it's shooting from here, and if you can get it in the right place, but if you can get this through a muscle, that's really cool. You don't have to. You don't have to. It's all about the ATP. The gloves I love. It's less expensive. I love. And as I said, I charged it once when I got it, easily maybe 5 months ago. I use it quite often. I've never had to recharge it. It just has an adapter. You plug it in the wall and you charge it for a couple of hours and you're gone. I use this usually for 45 minutes when I use it. You can do something shorter if you're in a hurry and you just need to get it done, but let's face it, I'm not really in a hurry for anything anymore. So sometimes I'll sit down and like, yeah, I'll make it short. I'm like, yeah, no, I won't. I'm going to go really slow, and apparently the slower you better, whether you use the gloves or the probes. And then the areas that I want to work on a lot, like this, I'll just do like 10 reps. You don't have to. The idea is 3 reps. So with this, you would go up, pinch and hold for 5 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, and then do that 3 times. And when you're doing the erase, 3 or 4 times, pretty slow, slower than I'm doing right now. And still, if you go slow enough, you get enough reps, whatever the case may be, I think you're basically going to be doing this for half an hour, unless you're just looking for things very specific. If you have wrinkles across here and that's all that bugs you, you'll just do a protocol right there. If the eyes, you want to lift up your brows a little bit and that's all you're interested in, then that'll be your protocol, and you could probably get that done in 10 minutes. But if you're doing it all, you're going to be sitting there for a while. And I have to say, I never do this and think, oh, I wish it was done already. Sometimes I start it thinking I wish it was done already, but once I get into it, I'm enjoying myself. I really am. And I feel like I'm doing something beneficial for my skin. So this is video number 1. And it is just microcurrent. I hope that I've been able to explain to you a little bit more about microcurrent and help clarify what the objective is here. When these were first coming out, they were all talking about muscle. And it's really not necessarily about the muscle, although that's you know, it's in the picture, but the ATP is the energy your cells need to get done what they need to get done. And it's something you produce less and less as you get older. For preventative, I think this is lovely. And for preventative, maybe this is something you only do once a week or even twice a month, because you're not there yet. Nothing is, you know, fallen to the floor, and you're not too wrinkly yet. For someone my age, I think a little bit more, and you may not get fantastic results, but that depends on the structure of your face, not your bone structure, well, maybe a little bit, but what is it comprised of? For me, it's pretty fleshy. It's a pretty fleshy face. And that's it, my friends. Video number 1. And hopefully there'll be 2 more. I hope it was helpful to you, and I hope you come back again. Until we meet again, yes, be safe. It's still here. Be smart. It won't be here forever. And I'm wishing you good health.